Hey, this is Michael here. Thought we'd just do a little walking and talking today. So I'm out and about. It's a beautiful day here. And what was going through my mind was the interesting message that I got from a friend the other day. And it was a good message. It was a good message with some information that had been forwarded. There was an article basically saying, we can't be worried about those who are born in poor conditions and those who are born in war-torn places and different things of that nature. That we must look at it from the effect that, God has a plan. And God orchestrated that, and God put those people there. And to serve a purpose in some capacity, right? And it is true. So basically the article was saying, trust in the fact that God in his wisdom knew what he was doing when he placed these people there. It doesn't mean you can't empathize. It doesn't mean you can't help in different ways. But, don't take on all of that sorrow and all of those things. And as I thought about that, I thought, well, okay, that's kind of crazy in my opinion. First of all, there's a few things here that bother me about it because of the fact that you're coming up with, there's this external God somewhere. And for most foundational, fundamental Christian beliefs, you get one life and that's it. You get one incarnation on this earth and that's it. And then your eternal destiny is set, either heaven or hell. First of all, that's not true. First of all, it's a completely misunderstanding and lack of knowing what the Bible actually says and what texts that didn't make it into the canonized Bible say about such things. But what's so interesting about it is that you take that piece and you say, okay, so from their belief system you get one life, you get one incarnation, right? And then God's up there going, hey, you know what? I'm going to make this person over here, I'm going to incarnate them in a place where they're going to be a millionaire or a billionaire, man. They're going to be living large. But this other person over here, I am going to incarnate them in a war-torn place or a place that will have a lot of poverty and a lot of poorness, a lot of famine. And I'm thinking, there's the old saying, God works in mysterious ways. Whenever you pose these kinds of questions, that's usually the type of answer you'll get. Well, the heart of God is different than that of the heart of man, and God is the one with infinite wisdom here. And I'm thinking, no, that just sounds completely messed up. Right? But the billionaire, the guy, the person, the woman, whoever is the millionaire and the billionaire and has this cushy life and everything, they're still supposed to get the answer right. Just like the person who's over here in this war-torn country and is experiencing all kinds of trauma, massive amounts of trauma in various ways. And yet they're supposed to, both of these representations are supposed to be able to come out with the one right decision. And if they don't get that decision right in terms of, accepting God into their life, then they are going to be damned to eternal torture and punishment. It doesn't make any sense to me. And it doesn't matter if it makes sense, right? But it's also not truth. Now, I like the perspective that says each of us choose where we are incarnated. You see, because if we're just the arbitrary creations of a God who sits up there and then decides, I'm going to put this person in over here in this war-torn place, I'm going to put this person over here in a very nice, luxurious place, then it's really easy to get into a victim mindset that way. If you lived in those places and you experienced those things and whatnot, there could be a part of you that's very much like, well, I didn't choose any of this. You mean this is just, I didn't get any say in this, and this is the mess I have to live in? And by the way, I only get one chance to experience this lifetime. And this person over here gets to experience all these wonderful things and go on cruise ships and fly wherever they want and see things in the world. And I'm over here trying to survive. So I think that there's a lot of justifiable victim mentality in that. And the take that I like on this is, first of all, we don't get just one life. It's not a one and done. YOLO, you only live once, that's ridiculous. And there are lots of ancient texts, biblical and non-biblical. And when I say biblical, I include Gnostic texts. I include texts that were not part of the canon, that was deemed to be the canon in the Council of Nicaea and at later times as well. Because if I'm remembering correctly, and I could be wrong on this, I think there were originally 88 books after the Council of Nicaea, but I think even the book, like the books of Maccabees and Enoch and some other books, were removed even after the Council of Nicaea. But again, I could be wrong on that. So anyways, the canonized Bible that we have today is 66 books. It leaves out a lot of stuff that wasn't, put in as part of the canon for various reasons. The perspective I like is that, and that I think you find support for in ancient texts and different things, it's the simple fact that you are part of everything. You are God incarnate. You are the Word become flesh. You are eternal. I used to sit there and I used to listen to sermons and different things as I got to be a young teenager. And, they would talk about the threats of hell and everything after you die, and make sure your life is right with Jesus and all this stuff. And, they would say, well, the great thing about it is when you choose Jesus and let Jesus into your heart, you get to live in eternity, praising God and worshiping God. I remember sitting there thinking, everybody gets to live in eternity. Because everybody is eternal. We are eternal souls, or eternal spirits. Right? We are not separate from God. We are of God. And we choose to reincarnate as many times as we would like. It is part of the soul's journey. We come here. Earth is a wonderful playground or school of sorts, right? To learn and experience things that which we cannot experience in spirit form. So we have multiple lifetimes here. There are lifetimes where I have lived in war-ravaged places. There are lifetimes where I have been more the villain in life, or the bad person in life, because it's all part of the journey, it's all part of the growth, right? And this is true for everybody. And when we incarnate, we choose. What is it, the lessons that we need to learn? What is it that we really desire to learn this time around during this incarnation? And based on those things, we choose where we incarnate. We choose who our parents are. And our parents have a say in this as well. Everything comes about by choice. As above, so below is the Hermetic saying and the Hermetic principle, and it's a principle of life. It's in the Lord's Prayer as well. Let it be done in earth as it is in heaven. That's as above, so below. It is you having the free will to make decisions. And also knowing that life itself has an ebb and a flow and an energy of its own, right? But when we pull back and we reframe things to say some arbitrary God out there didn't just drop you in the middle of someplace in his great divine plan that nobody else can make sense of, and he's like, hey, have fun, man, you know. Instead, we choose where we come in. We choose what situation, what place on the globe we are born into, because of the things that we have chosen, that we want to experience, and we think will help us grow on our journey as a soul, because we are eternal beings who are at one with God, because we are of God and from God. And I believe that that is a much more empowering perspective. And the simple fact is, it's not just my perspective. Again, this comes from lots of ancient texts and metaphysical and esoteric understandings of things. But it gives you that freedom. We make choices every day while we're living our life. We make choices through free will. And those choices is where our freedom lies. That's where our power lies. We generally feel powerless when we're in a situation where it feels like we can't make a choice, that we don't have a choice. And so to have a God who is supposedly sitting up there and doesn't really give you any choice in where you are placed on this earth, what circumstances you are going to experience, but yet you're all judged in the same way because you all better arrive at the same answer, or else you will be punished for eternity in a place called hell because you didn't make the right decision when you were here through the experiences you've had. And I always used to think, you know, this is easy if you live in America to say something like this. What if you're born somewhere in some tribe, in some island? Or what if you're born somewhere in India or Asia or China somewhere, where the predominant religion or belief system is not Christianity? And we know that religious beliefs and ideological beliefs, so much of them come from a culture that a person is raised in. And so to say, oh, well, the person that's raised in America has the same chance as the person that's raised in India or something, or a country that that is more Hindu in nature, is ridiculous. It's ridiculous to make a comparison like that and say, these two people get one shot. And God in his almighty wisdom is going to place this person over here in India and the other person in America and say good luck to both of them. Hopefully you can both arrive at the right answer. So it's a much more freeing perspective to be able to look at and say, I chose this. Now sometimes that'll make you mad because you're like, there's no way I would choose some of this stuff that we've gone through, right? And yet at the same time, that's part of the process, because when you get far enough along in the process, you realize, wow, you know what? This is the place I've always been trying to get to in life. And in some way, in some shape or form, I orchestrated this. I created this, because we are all creators. I created this in my life in some capacity, because these were the things that I needed to learn and experience for whatever reason at a deeper level of my soul. And once we learn those things and recover from them and heal from them and do that inner work, we can have a better experience of this lifetime, right? And what happens in this life, and a better understanding. And think about that at a higher macro level, that how that has upgraded your soul, your eternal part of your being, right? I think it's fabulous. At any rate, it's a little bit of walking and talking with Michael today. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Take a moment to remember all the things that you're thankful for. And, you know, if anything in here seems to not set right with you, that's okay. Just go ahead, breathe in, think about it. Let yourself feel into what is it. If I say this doesn't make any sense that a God would do this type of thing, and you feel a constraint or you feel a resistance to that, that's okay. I'm not asking you to believe the same way I believe. But I do believe that there are a lot of things out there that teach us there is so much more, and teach us that we are empowered beings. Teach us that we are empowered and embodied truth. And it's just remembering that. As always, blessings and love to each of you. Have a beautiful day.